So today I'm going to go over the third occupational therapy visit that I did, which is the activity tracking sheet. And the purpose of this, it may seem simple, but it's actually extremely important if you are waking up fatigued or have general cognitive fatigue that you can't really seem to get a handle on, or you're waking up hungover constantly where you're feeling worse off than you were the day before and you're not really sure why. It's a simple thing to do. It's worth doing. At the end of this, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what your drainers are specifically for you and what your boosters are, what is causing you to deplete your battery the most, and then what you can do to recharge that battery throughout the day so you can get through your day, go to bed, wake up the next day feeling hopefully better off than you were the day before. And that's how you get the upward trajectory here, which will actually help you or get you recovered. Whereas if you keep doing that activity crash response where you are doing too much, waking up the next day hungover and having a crash day, and then, that day's a write-off, and then you're waking up the next day and repeating the cycle, you're not actually really getting better, because you can have some of those days. It's inevitable. Don't kick yourself in the butt if that happens. It's going to happen as that line that we talked about keeps moving. You're going to keep testing the water, and you're inevitably going to have those activity crash responses. But the key here is that you don't want to be having them every day. And if you are having them every day where you're having this response cycle, this sheet is going to really help you. Also, again, if you are fatigued all the time, this is really going to help you. So what you want to do, download this activity tracker sheet, print it off, print 7 of them off at least, if not 14. So do this for a week at minimum, 2 weeks if you can. So I'm gonna put a pause here. Go do that. When you come back, go through it together. Okay, so hopefully you've done that now. And this is what the sheet looks like. At the end of every day, once you've filled in, you're gonna circle your overall energy level at the end of the day. And then I'm gonna ask you to add an additional one where you circle your overall energy level also the next morning. So you're gonna have two. You're gonna have one at the end of the day, and then you're gonna have one the next morning, because a lot of times what happens is you don't actually see that you've overdone it that day until the next day when you're having a bad day. So I'm gonna walk you through a bad day for me. I typed it up, but normally I would have printed this off and written in it. Don't want to put that up here because my writing is awful. So 7 a.m. I woke up, I had coffee, I did my eye exercises, I took an eye break, I watered the garden, then I did emails for half an hour, drove to an appointment, an hour and a half appointment, drove home, went for a 15-minute run. I'd like to caveat this with 50-minute run that it took me many weeks to get to 50 minutes, and I will put a video in here about how to increase your activity level specifically with exercise, because exercise is a whole thing and it's important to do. Exercise is medicine when you have a concussion. You probably won't be able to start at 50 minutes. We'll get to that. I started at 15 and worked up to 50 by the repeat for 2 weeks increase, repeat for 2 weeks increase that we talked about previously. Anyway. Then I came home, showered, stretched, made food, ate food, did my physio exercises, did eye exercises again. Physio and eye exercises you should be doing about 3 times a day. I hope you all know that. So today I didn't do them enough. I cleaned, and then I worked for about 2 hours. Note that I took no breaks between cleaning or working, and that I went straight to dinner afterwards, okay? No breaks in here, so that's important when we get to the good day. And then I had friends over for dinner, had drinks with them. They were really loud. 2 hours went by, and then I started having a headache and onset of symptoms. Again, I started taking breaks at around 8 p.m., but it was too late at that point. I'd already well overexerted myself throughout the day. I was starting to take breaks, probably not frequently enough. I don't remember because I didn't fill it in. I had difficulty sleeping that night, fell asleep at about 1 a.m. and the next morning I was pretty fucked up. I was sitting at around 4 energy level and I had pretty bad symptoms, and the next day was a crash day. All right, so in contrast to that, let's look and see what a good day looks like. I don't know why my camera isn't working. Hopefully that fixes it. A good day looked like waking up, tried to get out of bed and felt groggy, had a headache, lied on the couch for an hour. Again, this is a good day. Hopefully this part makes you feel better. Then around 8 a.m. I got dressed, I made coffee, I drove to an appointment, had an appointment very similar to the crash day. Then I drove home, I went for my run, then I showered, stretched, made food, ate food, did my physio exercises, eye exercises. And then note the difference here. I worked on my taxes for about 3 hours here. But I took a break every 30 minutes to 40 minutes for 20 to 30 minutes. And during my breaks, I would do things like I would go for a walk, I would stretch, I would check on my garden, I would maybe do some dishes. And then after that, I meditated for 15 minutes at the end of my work day. And then I made dinner, which took 30 minutes. I had dinner with my husband. And then from 7 to 8 p.m., I did woodworking and a podcast, did a bit of computer work. And then around 9 p.m., I started getting to bed. And then I was asleep by 10. And my overall energy level the next morning was a 7. This shouldn't say symptom level. The symptom level, because the symptoms were not that bad. The next day was about a 7. So as you can see here, this is how I properly paced myself. And you can see the next day, I was doing better. And so what you're going to do is you're going to fill out your own tracking sheet every day of the week for at least a week, if not 2 weeks if you can. And then at the end of those week or two, you're going to re-review the days that you had bad days and the days that you had good days. And the days that you had good days, I want you to take a highlighter and highlight the things that you did those days that gave you a boost, that recharged your battery that may have been otherwise depleted, the things that you did to pace yourself or to incorporate those breaks throughout the day. And what you're going to do is you're going to take all of those things that you did properly, or that not properly, that's not a good word, that helped you get through that week, and I want you to write them down. And ultimately what you're going to do is you're going to turn this into a menu of boosters. And this was, again, recommended to me by my occupational therapist, and it was very, very helpful. I ended up creating my menu of boosters, basically depending on the time that I had available. So if you are returning to work or you have a 6-hour workday and they're allowing you to work from home and you have, 15 minutes between meetings or need to take a 15-minute break, what are you going to do during those 15 minutes? So for me, it was painting. I had kind of a paint shop set up that I was working on, and I do some painting for 15 minutes to give my mind a break from whatever I was working on. I would work on an existing art project, a different existing art project. Sometimes I'd sweep the patio. If I could only have a 5 to 10 minute break, I would do some mindfulness breathing, and I will put up some good short videos or mindfulness videos that you can access later in my series. Did some short stretches, lying on back, eyes closed. So this was usually with a towel wrapped up under my neck because I had a lot of neck issues. Again, I'll get that, I have that in another video. Sitting on balcony, sometimes I would just go sit out in the sun and just rest in the sun. Watering the garden, grabbing a snack, eating was great. If you're not eating small amounts frequently, you need to start doing that. A lot of symptoms occur because of low blood sugar, and it actually took me way too long to learn that I needed to eat before I got hungry. And this might be the case for you too. Start eating more frequently and before you get hungry, and see if that helps with your symptoms, because for me, my brain wasn't actually getting the signals that I was hungry, and your brain needs a lot of energy to recover from a brain injury. Or sometimes I would do neck or physio exercises, 20 minutes, anyway, you get the idea. So create your own menu of boosters, print this off, put it on the wall, put it somewhere visible, and then that way you'll know to do it. And you incorporate those into your workday. So The best way to do this is to incorporate this with a timer. So if your screen time symptom onset is around, say, 20 minutes, you're gonna set a timer for 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, that timer goes off, you're gonna take a 5-minute pick from your menu of boosters. And this way you already have those set up. It's easy to choose one to do. And then you're gonna go back to your computer and set your timer for 15 minutes again. Another good way to do it, 15 minutes isn't very long if that's your screen time limit. I got through a lot of the worst part of my screen times by, if somebody sent me an email, I'd call them. I'm not reading this email, I'm just gonna call this person, I have their contact in my phone, what the hell does this email say? It was a lot easier for me to do my job over the phone than it was via computer. Another thing I would do is reports. I would go to the office and I would just batch print off stuff. So I would print off like hundreds of pages of reports that I had to read. And then I would go read them outside where it was nice and I wouldn't get any symptoms, or make phone calls outside. So those are the sorts of things you can do if you're still in that really limited screen time sensitivity. Again, like I said before, when you're trying to increase your activity level, you want to limit everything for 2 weeks. You want to work at that limited level for 2 weeks, and then you want to test your threshold again. Find that new threshold, work slightly below that threshold for 2 weeks, repeat. You do this theory with this methodology with everything in concussion recovery. This is how you get better. All right, that's it for this one. We'll see you on the next one.